Okay, here we go again in the kitchen with Martin Kobald, and today I'm sitting here with Chef David Susson. It's of course my French connection. He's the operations manager and the culinary manager for Qatar Duty Free, based in Doha. Well, chef, of course. You know, only chefs can do manager's job, I suppose. You know.
Manager, F&B, plumber.
Manager, okay.
Plumber.
So you need to speak very loud and clear, because normally the French accent comes a little bit across. A lot of people don't understand.
And I don't speak German.
You don't speak, but we can try in German too.
Yes,
yeah. Okay. Well, David, thank you very much for making time. So let's see what we can talk about. I think what I would like to talk to you about is a little bit about your operation in Doha, how you got there. But first, I'd like you to just introduce yourself a little bit. Well, how did you get there? I mean, a little bit. I mean, obviously, you're not old, but you're not young. So you're sort of
I am more old than young.
You're more old than young. But obviously, it took some time to get there where you are, because this is a fantastic position, and it takes a long time to get there. And, I mean, you've got many staff members you look after, many operations. I mean, I've been to the airport in Doha. This is a big job. So tell us how you got there and how you do it.
Basically, I've been trained in France with some star Michelin chefs. Yeah. With Patrick Geoffroy, for example, which is 2-star Michelin chef, who just retired. So it's about 26, 27 years ago. And,
so you're old?
More than that, 28 years ago.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, and I moved to Scotland, Glasgow, and Edinburgh in 1994, and stayed there for 4 or 5 years working for bistros. Okay. So when you see my career, I've been doing so many things. I've not been staying short, but I've been staying like 4 or 5 years in each places, but different concepts.
Which is of course important, because and we'll get to that maybe later, you know, the jumping around from one shop to another one.
Yeah, because you are learning so different things, and I've been working from very small team to very large team. But when I started in a bistro, it was like a blackboard menu, changing every lunch, every dinner. It was quite a very good learn for me. Yeah. And after that, I moved on a ship. I did travel to Bermuda, see a little bit of the countries, go to Caribbeans, working for Celebrity Cruises in a large operation, cooking fresh food on a boat. Wow. We did open a boat at that time called the Mercury with Michel Roux. Okay. Michel Roux Senior, making sauce. He was very famous for sauce. So we did work with him about 4-5 months at the openings.
That must have been a great experience.
Yeah, because him is going with his very small spoon, and us, we are cooking for 2,000 people per service.
Very intimidating when Michel Roux walk around there.
With his small spoon, coffee spoon, and then he's trying, you know, and you are making liters of sauce. but it's great, because you learn how to cook fresh for a lot of people, and in certain time with limited manpower as well, because you don't have 500 chefs. You are cooking about 10,000 meals a day, and you are about 100 staff. Wow. From pastry to kitchen. Yeah,
and so fairly limited space on the ship as well.
It's about 60 meters, and you have 2 galleys, so it's 120 meters long. Yeah. And it's about 15 meters large for each galley. Okay. So it's, yes, you have space, but you know, food is in a basement, you have to go and take the lift. So you learn how to organize. Of course, at that time, I was not executive chef. Sure. I was chef tournant, just before sous-chef tournant. Yeah. And then it was quite hard, because we don't have. It's hard on the ship. You are learning a lot.
It's a dream for a lot of young chefs. I want to work on a ship one day. I mean, it's not that easy, you know, and especially only from the way I understand. I never worked on a ship, but the way I understand it, you know, in a certain level, only then you're like in the harbor, you're allowed to go off the ship. Am I correct in saying that? And like, you know, the lower ranks brigades, they stay all on the ship for like whatever, how long they are on the sea.
And on top of this, you have also all the safety matters. So you are trained to leave the boat if there is a fire, and all these things. So you on top of being a chef, you have also a lot of other responsibilities. You have a side of the boat to take care of if there is a fire, if you have to bring the guest out of the boats, and if you have a thick book to learn of safety. And each drill, there is a kind of safety captain passing by when you do the drill, and he's choosing randomly people.
Okay.
Then he will tell, okay, David, I have 3 questions. Then if you don't answer the question, you are 1 week to stay in the boat. You cannot go out for 1 week. I'm telling you, you're learning your book very fast.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
so it's experience.
That's great experience. So, would you do it again?
No. I'm very great. It was very great to do it at that time because I was also quite young. Quite young. And but it's not something because I want to do other things. And now I have a family. Like now at that time I was single and available. And now married with kids. It's a little bit different. And I've seen people working 20 years, 25 years on the ship with family at home. It's hard because you are depends of the boats, but sometimes you are 3-4 months at sea, and then 2 months at home. Then you go back for it's
a different lifestyle. I think for young person,
birthdays, you need you know when you are young, Christmas, all these things you don't. But when you have the family, it's different. It's different choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now you were on a boat, and then what happened?
Then I met somebody on a boat who knew that I wanted to go in Asia.
Okay.
But the guy told me if you want to go in Asia, you should pass by Middle East first.
Okay.
To be, to work with multicultural and try to get a good position before going to Asia because it will be difficult to go as a sous chef.
Yeah.
French sous chef to go direct. It's difficult.
Okay.
And he told me there is a position in Abu Dhabi, Intercontinental Hotel, and they are looking for a young French chef.
Okay.
Sous chef position. I sent my CV, and after a few weeks, because at that time we didn't have internet and everything.
I was saw in an envelope with a stamp on it. The youngsters these days don't understand that. Yeah.
So I sent it from Miami or something like that, and then they replied to me quite quickly. We had a call, and then they bring me in to take care of a restaurant, French dining restaurant called Chez Jacques.
Okay.
But it was only for a few months because they wanted me to take care of the opening of two concepts. A Mediterranean concept called 90 Degrees.
Okay.
And a bar, with different ambience from morning to evening with tapas. Called AM PM.
Okay.
So I stayed there, and this is where I met my wife as well, because my wife came. My wife is from Philippines.
Okay.
And she came as a waitress, and we met at that time.
Okay.
And I stayed.
Love at first sight, I guess.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I stayed for 5 years, and again I came from the ship, but it was very large. I had to do a fine dining, where I had a team of 7-8 people with 30 packs sittings.
Okay.
So in proportion, and then I did the opening with a larger team, which is a Mediterranean and like a kind of a tapas type of things. So in a very short time, I did bistros, and then on a ship, and then working in a 5-star hotel. At that time, it was a hotel of the protocol.
Okay.
So we had to do Yasser Arafat and people like Prince Charles, King of Morocco. We had concerts as well, Lef Leppard, lot of big concert happenings on the beach. So it was quite nice. And this is where I met my friend, the executive chef Daniel Nuss.
Okay.
He came in the day of the opening of 90 Degrees in 2000.
Yeah.
And me, I was there already since 3 years. And after a few weeks, I told him, listen, I need to move a little bit. I'm looking for another position. I think I'm not going to stay. And he told me, David, stay with me 1 year and I find you an executive chef position.
Okay.
1 year later, I got my first
oh, wow.
executive
So
chef
kept
position.
His word. Yeah.
Yes, and I moved to a boutique hotel in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia,
Yeah.
which called Carcosa Serinegara.
Okay.
It was at that time under GHM, Aman Resort.
Yeah.
Boutique hotel, so again something completely different than
fine dining as well, I suppose.
Fine dinings as well. And at that time, I got Best Personality Hotel Asia 2004. And the one who won it the year before was Emmanuel Schroden.
Sure.
So it was quite, it was good. We had one restaurant only for afternoon tea and another restaurant only French dining.
Okay.
And it used to be the English governor house during the colony. So next to the King House. So it was a very nice
setting, the area, location, fantastic.
But don't forget that when I started in Glasgow, I didn't speak a word in English.
Yeah.
So from Glasgow to Malaysia, I
you
learned a little
still
bit.
got a very strong accent.
Yes.
You know, but that will you never lose
Because I'm
that.
French.
Exactly, you're French. That's it. I'm Austrian. My home language is also German, Austrian. You know, but I've got a strong accent. You know, but we can communicate. And that's what it's nice, you know, networking is still perfect. We understand each other, and that's great. Because we got the same passion, I reckon, you know.
Yes,
and it's people.
which is cooking and people.
Exactly. And obviously in that short period of time, and we're talking only a couple of years now, you've been all over the place, you know?
Now was, when I finished in Malaysia, was 2005.
Yeah.
And I moved to Bali to open a boutique hotel.
Nice.
Called the Viceroy in Ubud.
Yeah. Was it like a resort?
It's like a resort. I think now they have about 40 villas, and each villa has its own pool. And we had the helipad, and we had a French restaurant. It was a great. We had a green card from the owner, Australian owner, and unfortunately I didn't stay too long because my first son was born in Malaysia.
Okay.
And the second one was on the way. And few things happened in Indonesia at that time, political things with the bombing against Australian people, and the business went completely down at that time. So I opened it. We got best 2005 fine dining restaurant in Bali, and then after a few months, this happened, and no more business.
Wow.
And at the same time, I received some calls of friends, you know, with connection, looking for a young French executive chef for Morocco. Then when I spoke to the owner of the Viceroys, it was kind of good for them because it was no business.
Yeah.
And so we find a kind of understanding that I was going to consult for them for a year.
Yeah, okay.
And then I was moving to Morocco in Tanger.
Wow.
For Movenpick resort and casino.
Sure. Morocco is
such
a cultural history there and culinary culture.
Yeah.
You must have learned a lot.
It was a half resort, half business place. I stayed 2 years there, but it was a little bit, how to say, a culture shock little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because I did UK, then US, then Middle East, Asia, and then come back
to Africa.
To north of Africa.
Yeah.
It's completely different way of working and culture. You know,
but the food culture in Morocco is so interesting.
It's
absolutely interesting.
The tagine, the pastilla, orange, even carrot orange with little olive oil, and it's super.
Beautiful
the products are super.
And it's all fresh cooking there as well. I mean, it's like a lot of stew, like the tagines you mentioned, etc. But still, it's like they got a signature there. They really got a signature. I love Moroccan food.
We had a restaurant, Moroccan restaurant called Layali in a lobby under a tent, Berber tent. And my chef was a a lady of 55 years old, small, you know, but cooking berber, strong, and she was cooking super.
Yeah.
Always moody, but very good food.
Yeah, but that sometimes happens. You know, you get those moody chefs, but they got so much knowledge. You know, you must not just walk away. There's so much knowledge you can extract from them. So yeah, I think you're the right. So you were there for 2 years, you said, eh?
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
And I nearly left to Singapore, but I got an offer from Movenpick. They wanted me to stay with them.
Okay.
And they asked me to go to Mauritius, so I went to Mauritius for
all over. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Not too far from South Africa.
Yeah.
I moved in end of 2007.
Okay.
And I stayed 3 years in Mauritius for Movenpick in Belombre, south of the island. Beautiful. And this was a super experience as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a small island of 100 kilometers by 120 kilometers about. And you have a lot of 5-star and 4-star hotel, and at that time, all the chefs was quite together.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of good experiences.
Yeah.
In the south, it was the wild part of it. And we did festivals of fine dining festivals between the 4 hotels in the south.
Yeah.
So we call it Chef of the South. And then people was coming for a weekend, and they had a full experience with 4 pastry chefs, and in one hotel. And we was changing hotel at all the time.
Wow.
So for example, I was hosting, I was doing the main course and the petit four. And my other friends was doing the fish, and maybe the amuse-bouche, the other one the soup, and the second main course, something like that. You know, was doing like this. And always one was hosting it. So it was very popular, and we was using, of course, our basics, and using
local ingredients.
Not the wines. Wines was from everywhere, but only local ingredients.
Okay.
So we was putting little constraint to us, but in Mauritius you have foie gras, you have nice mango, you have a lot of things to do. You have games.
Yeah. Now one wouldn't think in an island Mauritius that they have a lot of their own products, you know, like fruits and veg. Yeah, you would think, but those are a lot of protein.
Yes.
They've got their own ingredients.
And fish.
Yeah.
Langoust, and also vielle rouge, vielle grise, super rougaille, and you know, it's very, very nice.
Great quality stuff.
Yeah, very quality stuff. And then my kids were starting to get a little.
So your family always traveled with you?
Yes, always. And Owen, the second one, born in Morocco.
Yeah.
And when we moved, there was like four for Owen and 6 for Brent to Mauritius, to Middle East, to Qatar. Because at that time they was growing, and then you know, was thinking about them as well, and also about me to grow, and I wanted to do something different.
Now, as with the family, I guess, you know, it came to your mind you need to now start settling down somewhere.
And my wife said, where do you want to go? I said, and it was at the time of Christmas, and I was really wanted to go. I said, okay, I will look for you. Where you want to go? But without really believing it, because, you know, she was not working at the time.
Okay.
So she said, I will look for you. And I said, okay, look Middle East and Asia.
Okay.
Then she started to look, and after a few days she came back to me and said, you know, I find something very good. I don't know if you will like it, but it is for an hospital in Qatar.
A hospital in Qatar?
An hospital in Qatar.
Okay. You were not sick at the time, were you?
I told her, hospital in Qatar. No, it's very nice, you have to have a look. Okay, I will look this weekend. So I had a look, but it was not an hospital like a general hospital. Okay. It was a clinic for FIFA accredited clinic. Okay. For Qatar, because at that time they was preparing the bid for the World Cup. Yeah. And it's under Aspire, and Aspire has a full sports zone where one of the stadium is for the World Cup, but they have Olympic swimming pools, and they have academies, sport academies. Okay. And there is a full complex with to take care. A lot of students preparing the national teams for all the sports. So when I said, okay, why not? I went, I will try.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then they called me and they asked me to come for a testing.
Okay.
And I came there, and when I arrived, I heard that the people who was pushing for my CV, it was some doctors from the former doctors of PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, who looked at my CV and wanted me to come and try.
Okay.
So I had on my try to cook for 15 people. I said 15 people, yeah, but they are all doctors of Bayern Munich.
Okay.
So
the team doctors.
Yeah. So that I had to. So I had to show skills, no?
Yeah.
And they called me after the dinner. I said, "Oh my God, it's I had one guy told me because the food kitchen was very busy.
Yeah.
They had VIPs in, and then I didn't have really a lot of people told me in very short time. And they come in, they clap. I said, "When you are coming?" Okay.
Oh wow.
Then they did us. I came a few months later.
Okay.
And after I was more in nutrition. I was working with nutritionists. We was working with football national teams. I had chefs going around the world with the national team A, B, -21, -17, -12 also, sending people in Switzerland. We had chefs. But I think 4 nutritionists working with us, and some of the league team as well was asking our service.
Okay.
So on top of taking care of the clinic, we was taking care of this as well as Asian Cups, World Cup of Club for volleyballs. So I was a lot in sports with nutrition. So I had to learn how to modify recipes. We had people coming, tennis, Nadal.
There's sports people. I mean, it's super that there's athletes. They come with special dietary requirements.
Yeah, special diets.
So although like it's just a hospital, like you said right at the beginning,
but it's hospital.
This is specialized, totally specialized.
But for example, people come either for performance.
Yeah.
Because we had, for example, some people who was coming, they were like world champion of 3,000 meter running.
Yeah.
He was coming just to learn how to run differently, and to win a few little time to win the Olympics, for example. Yeah. We had this kind of thing. We had also experience with team where the tennis team, for example, is playing 1 week on the sun and 1 week indoor with the same kind of food.
Yeah.
So we was testing how they can be performant indoor and outdoor, and what the quality intake they should take.
Well, it reminds me very much. I was once a personal chef for Will Smith, the actor, and when he was shooting the movie Ali, where he did Muhammad Ali, the boxing. I was 6 weeks. I was working for him in Mozambique as his private chef, and they was also like very much in training, to build the muscles and everything, and it was also special dietary requirements for him, and I was dealing on a day-to-day basis with his coach and his trainer and his dietitians, and unbelievable. And I know exactly what you're saying. Obviously it wasn't in that capacity what you did, but just looking after one person, it was already a real struggle, really. And I learned so much, and I had to read up and, research and this and that, because he needed this minerals and whatever. And then the fun part was the scary part, what I thought, because after 4.5 weeks, finished filming of Muhammad Ali, just about to finish, but then I had like literally 2 weeks to put him on a diet where he loses a lot of weight, because 3 weeks later, he went straight onto the set of what they call Man in Black.
Okay.
So he had to lose a lot of weight and not fat, muscle weight. So it was highly interesting. So I can emphasize what you say there. It's so interesting.
And
the influence we as chefs have to somebody's body. And the knowledge you must have to be able to do that. It's fascinating. It's really good.
Because also me, I was working more, you know, like in a restaurant, order taking is taken by a waiter or a maître d'hôtel.
Sure.
All order taking for us was taken by nutritionists.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I had a team of, I don't know, Argentina team or Brazil football team or what, they come, if they come for a camp or if they come for a surgery, because they was very famous for surgery as well. So, depending of what you come, your diet is different. So, if you come for performance, nearly all of them, they have quite the same menu. But when you have surgery or if it's to lose weight, so all orders coming through the nutritionist. So, for example, I could have for breakfast 6 orders of 6 different rooms with an omelette, but the proportion would be different for the 6 of them. Maybe one will, I don't know, will have 2 eggs, the other one will have 3 eggs, one will have 50 grams of mushroom, maybe the other one will have 20 grams of mushroom. So it's quite a lot of coordination with the chefs. It's not a huge hospital, but it's about 40-50 rooms.
I think as a chef you need a lot of nerves as well, because I know a lot of chefs these days freaking out if there's a table of 6 and there's one vegan, one vegetarian and one whatever, you know, low cholesterol or something like that. They're crazy. I mean, you had like hundreds of people there, like team of like 50 people and 30 different menus for one team. So I think the chefs, the message I think for the chefs out there, it could be worse. It could be worse, I think, you know.
And then after that, it's a lot of stories, but I don't know how much time we have. But
after any time.
After the about 1.5 years, it was some restructuration in Aspire, because Aspetar was a clinic under the umbrella of Aspire, and then they decided to have all the entities in Aspire under one umbrella. Aspire. So
Aspire being the zone, country,
the sport zone. The sport zone under the government of Qatar, of course. And so they asked me to be the head of culinary for the zone. So of course I continued with the clinic. But we had the academy, the sport academy, with 400 kids preparing for national teams. Onboarding, so they are there, it's like a hotel inside, and we had at that time the largest dome of the world, where you have all multi-sport in one umbrella.
So which country we are now?
Qatar. Still.
Are we already in Qatar? Still in Qatar. Okay, perfect. So I'm losing track with you.
If you want, I was the executive chef in Aspetar, and they asked me to be the head of culinary for the full zone for Aspire, with keeping the clinic. So I had to take the academy.
Just a little bit of add-on,
yes. The academy plus all the events, national events, continental events, international events, stadium, ladies club.
So in other words, your wife's done a fantastic job to get you that job, eh?
She did super.
It's super.
Yeah, no, don't tell her, because she tells me that all the time.
Yeah, of course.
She's my agent.
Remember, David, you know, I got you that job. I'm sure that's the But I just want to go back to a couple of steps. You were talking about, because a lot of people are petrified, a lot of chefs are petrified, what you said earlier about you had to go there and cook for 15 people, you know, as part of your interview. You know, it's those days, most probably it wasn't that often, but I think it's getting more and more where when people interviewing chefs, especially in the higher positions, they want them to cook. And I experienced it personally when, like in the school, for example, where I'm trying to hire a new lecturer for the school, and I want the lecturer to come in and I give him a mystery basket, like a black box, and I say, okay, prepare me a meal. And then I let him do like a guest lecture, you know. I want to see, because at the end of the day, this is the person who passes on knowledge, but he's got in his head, to my students. And the same thing there. I had 10 interviews and 5 maybe didn't even come because they're scared of doing that, because they're petrified. But you, as an employer like my side, I need to do that. So how did you feel that?
Okay, most of my testings that I did, not this one, because this one is different.
You were cheating.
No. I will tell you. It was, you will see. It was, normally, most of the time, I get a black box. Like a box, and I have to cook out of it. Like the position that I have now in Qatar Airways / QDF is I had to do a black box, for example. But for this position in Ospire, I came in, and of course, when I was in the plane, I did some plan because I knew I had to cook something.
Yeah.
So I plan. I say, okay, what they have in Middle East, they have lamb. You know, I try to, you know, they have dry figs and they like this kind of dessert. So I imagine if they give me a box, I imagine that it's basically, so I plan
there will be
bit.
protein, there will be starch, there will be vegetables.
But and a fish and maybe a lamb, but without knowing what is inside, and without knowing how many courses they want, and without knowing that it will be 15 people.
Yeah.
So when I arrived there, they told me no problem, we'll give you 2-3 people, you will have to cook for 15 for tomorrow, but we'll give you 2-3 people. Yeah. But the same day had the function of 400 people who came in. So they told me you will have one guy.
Oh my goodness.
I say, yeah, but what
How
you want
many
me
courses?
to cook? I want to 5 courses.
5 courses?
5 courses. And I say, okay, so what I can do? And I say, okay, you go to the store, you go to the fridge, you take whatever you want. Here is the purchasing. Carrefour is next door. You take a trolley. Here there is money. You have green light. You go and look for your fish, you go and look for your meat, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever is not available here, green light. So I went with the guy and he was behind me paying the things.
Yeah. So you had carte blanche and just go.
So beautiful. I did a sauce with emulsion. We went for the full show. Yeah. But it took like, it was like a 2 hours and a half lunch. Sure. Amuse-bouche, petit four.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, the message is there. Number one, don't be scared. Use the skills you got, because you wouldn't apply. You wouldn't apply for the position.
Don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it. Stay with basics, you know, and prepare yourself. You can prepare.
I prepare, you know, and
you can prepare.
By doing that, most of the things I prepare in a plane, I say 80% of the plan was what I'm going to do, and after I found, you know,
you substitute with whatever. Yeah.
So I had to. It was
interesting and challenging, I'm sure, but not really scary. I think it's fun.
It was scary when the Qatari guy said, "But you will cook for 15."
What? You thought he must produce maybe one plate,
and they said you will do one set Western and one set Arabic. I said, man, please, I do 15 Western, but Arabic, I will handle. It's not my specialty, so I will handle it. Once I'm in with my Arabic people, but I am not Arabic chef.
Yeah, you see, so that's also one thing. You got to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, fine, and I had to do that, and it worked super. Then a few months later, I was there.
But now, of course, you're working for a large airline, basically.
Because we went under a few turbulence in 96, 97. In the region, I mean worldwide, with the financial crisis and all these things. So there has been some restructuration in many countries, but in Qatar with the government and in Aspire they decided to outsource all the F&B and all the housekeeping and all. So for business reasons, all the business that we was doing there was under the performance. Had to be outsourced.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So I wanted to go for something else. So I had a touch with some hotels in Tunisia, then in Philippines. I was nearly to go and sign for Tunisia. And
I remember a couple of years ago I was in Doha with you judging a competition, and we were.
No, I was passing by.
Yeah, and you said, I don't know if I stay here or whatever. Now you're still there and you're still loving it.
And when I passed, I told you I go to Tunisia.
Yeah.
And a week later, I got a call from Qatar Airways. They was looking for executive chef for their in-flight kitchen, which is
totally different again.
Completely different. And I had a friend before working in this kitchen who opened this kitchen. because it's a capacity of 160,000 to 180,000 meal a day.
Wow.
I knew a little bit, but you know, whatever, because Qatar Airways in-flight cooking is done in airside.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to have access. So if you don't have the green light from the government, you cannot, because it's secured and everything. So when you go do interview, you don't know really what is behind. If you have not been working in-flight, you don't really know what is next. So it was. I went to the same spirit of what I did before. I was thinking, I did boat, I did brasserie, I did fine dining, then I do clinic. So
but this is totally different. I mean, this is mass catering, really. With, like you say, 100 capacity of 160,000 meals a day.
Yeah, but you think about you think about like a ship.
Yeah.
You know, of course you are not alone. But we have,
of course you're not alone. But you know, obviously, as an executive chef, the planning alone, it's like, you know, it's scary, really.
Yeah, and we was 2 executive chefs, because you know you have it's 24 hours on 24 hours, and 1 executive pastry chef, and you have the holidays, and also you need to have always people. And about 550 to 580 chefs.
Sure.
But you have also big machines.
Sure.
You have machines to do omelettes. You can do like 20 omelettes at the same time, but not omelettes, you know, just rolled, nicely turned, nicely done.
And it's just like 1, 2, or 3 or whatever, like thousands.
Yeah, we can. We have machine to cook pasta 50 kilo by 50 kilo. You know, and I did.
Were you involved in the procuring there as well?
Sorry?
Procurement? Were you involved in procurement as well? Obviously in the menu planning, I'm sure you were involved.
Yeah, menu planning, yes. And the development chef left, so I've been asked to do the development. And it was newly for QACC, because it's a lot of entities in Qatar Airways, and it was another entity of Qatar Airways was doing the development before. But they asked us to do the development. So I had the chance to do 2 cycles of development for Qatar Airways. We speak about of 3 months, how you call that?
Circle,
rotation.
like a menu circle.
Yeah, 3 months rotation, 3-4 months rotation.
Yeah.
Of 250 menus.
Sure.
So after 4 months, you again put 250 menus. But the operation, when you do the change of menu change, it's a really big thing for the operation, because you have 500 menus at the same time for 24 hours. Because it is a change, and the planes are going same time and returning different times.
The logistics,
is completely different. It took me 4 to 5 months to adjust myself, because it's not, you know, development is okay, but when the first 6 months I was really in the operation, is to understand the full process from A to Z to the end, to really understand the full things, because it's very tight. You start to...
It's just the turnaround times or whatever.
It's the turnaround time, and sometimes a plane can have 30 to 40 different menus, and the load can change. Like 8 hours before, they come and they say, okay, there is 100 more passengers. So, of course, you have buffer, system of buffers and all these things, but you have also the expiry of your food, which is running. And there is some flights who are also cancelled, or last-minute flights. And we don't do only those normal commercial flights. We have also the Amiri, for all the royal family. We have the private jet, we have the cargo.
And that's sometimes more work than cooking for 5 big jumbo jets,
So I saw some days where average it was 100 to 120,000 a day, but it could go to 160,000. And now they're planning to go to 250,000 very soon.
Amazing.
So, and then I've been requested by the management to go and help Qatar Duty Free, which is in the departure area, you know, where you have all the shops, perfume, alcohol, and they have a lot of also restaurants. So they are managing their own restaurant, and they are also managing third parties. But there was like 6-7 months without executive chef. And they had to open a new concept like Harrods in London,
Yeah.
So it replicates the
I've
same.
been to that one.
Yeah, it replicates
nice.
some of the outlets in the airport.
So the Harrods in a Doha airport, for example, it's run by your operation then.
Fully.
Yeah.
Fully.
Okay.
Fully. It's a franchise,
Yeah.
but fully operated by Qatar Duty.
Okay.
So they asked me if I could go and help for 3 months.
Yeah.
And here we are. I mean, since this was 2 years ago, and I'm still in Qatar Duty Free, and I'm still doing other openings. We are doing Armani, and we have other concepts also to come. We have about one restaurant to open as from June every month until January. So
amazing.
And extension is coming, so we have more and more. And here we are.
And
we are here today.
We're in Dubai, still in the Middle East,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. I could talk for hours with you because it's so interesting what you've done.
It's quite.
But I think the message out there is for all the young people. You got to work hard in our industry. You really got to work hard if you want to achieve something. Yes, you can stay being a line cook for the rest of your life in one establishment, which is also nothing wrong with it. But if you want to do something, you got to move around like you said earlier. Not every year. Got to stay 3-4 years in one establishment, and that's it. And you've done most probably 20 different places in 5 different countries, and you're still young, and you can still do another 20-30 years, and that's what's the inspiring part of it. So I think all the young people who are watching us today, the older people like our generation, we're not old, we're sort of more established.
Looking a little bit older,
but still very young. Yeah, exactly. I think we know.
In this also managed to do few things with Worldchefs as well.
Yeah.
We started the Chef Association in Qatar in 2014, and because it was no
which you of course the president. Yeah.
Yes, and founder with some of the guys, Chef Joseph, Chef Baran, Chef Jamil. So we founded it at that time because it was no networking locally and internationally done with Qatar. And we started and we did our salon culinaire. And,
so when's the next one?
It should, depending on the situation, but should be by November. November. After Ramadan.
I think in November. Ramadan's coming just now, and I think, but in November should be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Middle East specifically, it's they're very in forefront with the vaccination, and so it's really going. I'm very positive it's going to happen. But
David, of course, you will come and see us, huh?
Well, I'm sure. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to see what you guys are doing. I need to check on you once in a while. You know?
Yeah.
But obviously you guys are always very hospitable in Doha, and thank you very much. And thanks for your time. We're going to have to cut down now, not just because we're running
too long.
No, it's not too long at all. We could still talk. Yeah. But I just had a phone call that I need to go and judge, and you also need to go and judge. So, but maybe we can just continue that one other day. Okay. Maybe we continue that when I come to Doha in November, and we'll see how the competition goes.
Great.
But there I want to talk to you then, about COVID-19, the impact in in the Middle East, and with you personally, and the chefs of Qatar, what impact it had, because I'm sure it must have been quite severe as well and quite heavy. But everything seems to be going okay now, better. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's going better.
And we just need to stick together and walk one way out that tunnel and into the light. So, David, thank you.
Thank you very
so much. Thank you for inspiring some chefs in the world. And
so now we can go in the
Now we can go for a pool. Now I need to go judging now. All right, but thank you very much. Okay. Well, that was another great episode. So I'm looking forward to see you guys a little bit later with another one, with another chef. I'm sure we can find some more. But great talking to you guys, and I hope you learned something. Cheers, goodbye.